Hi everyone, my name is Chigos Ndebo, welcoming you to this exciting moment of the political discourse here in Web TV. It is no longer news, of course, the most unprecedented and most bloody and brutal protest, of course, erupt the entire Kenyan uh, atmosphere as the people defended, of course, their democratic right to good governance and accountability on the part of the government. Of course, it was not expected to have descended so far, but then it sprang up as a surprise as the indigents and citizens of Kenya resisted the bill that is called the financial bill, which was intended to generate extra $2.7 billion, which by implication, the Kenyan citizens are going to pay more in terms of taxes and other, of course, levies that might be imposed by the government of Kenya uh, under the watch of Williams Ruto. Of course, the Kenyan citizens took out to the streets to protest against this unruly and unbecoming act of Ruto, which they claim will worsen the state of poverty of over 7.8 Kenyan citizens, 7.8 million Kenyan citizens who are already impoverished by the economic mishap. The population of Kenya as of the last review was about 56.2 million, which means by inference, by deduction, of course, the percentage of the poverty index within the Kenyan state or country is about 13 points something. Just about 13% of the Kenyans are poor. What does that mean? Despite, of course, the little index of the poverty ratio, they were able, of course, to protect the vulnerable and the weak among themselves, citing that such economic reforms was not intended to better the life of the Kenyan citizens, and as such, they do not watch, of course, back sitting and sipping some coffees and champagnes. They all took out in solidarity in defense of their common interests and for the good of all Kenyans. They said, no, you cannot be dictating to Kenyan citizens, being a slave, a suit to the IMF and other Western policy formation, and that as such endanger the life of the Kenyan people. That we are going to resist this. Of course, the protest lasted for a week plus, and they thought that that was just a child's play. But for Kenyan citizens, they were determined and very strong in their resolve to make sure that the government is held accountable and responsible to her actions to the citizens. That it is not about the president, it's about the population of the Kenyan citizens, who of course owns the government, because without the population, there will not be government. And as such, they have demonstrated the resilience and commitment, of course, to build an egalitarian society where the supposed president and his cronies cannot lord it over to the people again. But in contrast with the state of Nigerians today, where in during the Buhari's time, it was affirmed and certified that over 133 million Nigerians are living below poverty line. By inference, it means more than 60 to 65% as of then of the Nigerian populations were impoverished below poverty line. And I bet you over 180 to 90 million Nigerians, or 90% or 95% of Nigerians today are below poverty line. They are so struggling to survive. Despite such developments, unfortunately, this has not worked out. It is quite unfortunate and quite very unreasonable for people within the Nigerian states to remain mute. Now, just a single bill to increase the taxation of the Kenyan citizens by the Kenyan government, they resisted it. In Nigeria, the case is different. The government has removed subsidy and the impact is negative, overbearing on the masses. The masses kept mute. Of course, the increment in taxations and multiple taxations has been sustained, but the government kept quiet. I mean, the masses of Nigeria kept quiet. It's quite unfortunate. Several things, increment in the fuel price, food commodities have been skyrocketed, but the Nigerian citizens were docile and, of course, inactive in terms of holding the government accountable. We are not saying that they should dissolve the public peace, but the government should be held accountable to understand that they are accountable to the people, that they shouldn't, of course, behave as lords, lording it over to the masses at their own expense. It's quite unfortunate what is happening in Nigeria today uh, cannot be compared to what happened in Kenya, but they took out to the street to demonstrate this injustice and misappropriation of public funds with intention to make life more difficult for the people. Let's have you, an analyst who is here, of course, to air his own position regarding this development. It's a pleasure to have you. Good morning.
Good morning, bro.
Just by increasing the taxation of the Kenyan people by the Kenyan government, the Kenyan populace trooped to the streets to say no to such bill. How can you relate it to what is happening in Nigeria today? Several times, thousands of times, uh, government has gone against the will of the people, anti-people's policies, and yet uh, the lists are countless, and Nigerians are very docile and not inactive to address such matters.
Good morning, my viewer. First of all, I don't know the topography of Kenya. I don't know how divided they were. I mean, how many tribes we can find there, their regions. I don't know much about them. I don't know them as a country. I don't know much about them. So I will have known where to start. But I know Nigeria, and Nigeria, we have been in this mess for a very long time. There has been a uprise several times. Uprise started in the 60s when we first of all have even our regional system of government that we were proud of. Some people don't fancy it. It was disrupted. That was when there was a coup. If we have a good government, there wouldn't have been a coup. So I saw that first coup as a first of one of the uprising. So Nigeria have also witnessed uprising sometimes. We have witnessed. I don't know when they started Ali must go. Nigeria have witnessed something like that. During 1993 Bruaha, there was uprise. We have NSAS also in Nigeria. So several times Nigeria has also rise up. But the problem is this. It depends on who is ruling sometimes. Who is ruling sometimes determine when we people rise up. Unfortunately, we have people that can rise up now ruling us. If to say it's another person that is ruling now, and Tinubu is in opposition, I'm telling you, you may have been hearing some different story. There will be a rise up. But unfortunately, it is people that usually rise up against government. They are now the one that gang up. They are now on the throne. Now who will police the police? That is the problem. People that campaign against removing of subsidy in 2012, they are the one there now removing, do the same thing that Jonathan did in 2012. Even still continue to pay the thing, because I know that they will still be paying the subsidy. There is nothing they will add to it. Go and check the dollar rate now. Yeah, and check the land cost. Now they are still currently now they are still struggling our fuel to the outside country because it's expensive there. If they are not subsidizing, we will have been buying petrol like maybe 1,800 or 2,000 thereabout. They are still subsidizing. So unfortunately, Nigeria political structure and our geographical structure and our the way we are being divided, it will not let us rise. If we say everybody should rise up, look at it. On June 12th, some people came out and do riots against Tinubu. They were chanting Tinubu only. Go and count them. How many were they? They were not up to 2,000. Some people that they will be looking at them like this bunch of useless people. They don't have something. They don't have better thing to do. Very scanty. But imagine if there is a mammoth crowd. But who can pull the crowd? People that can pull crowd, they are not in government. Imagine you see somebody like Wole Soyinka leading a protest. You see people outside. I remember when Baba, this man of Redeem, Adeboye, when he lead protest, 1 million march, people came out. But okay, we police the police now. When the police are now ruling, nobody to talk now. That's very, very unfortunate. They were the one. Look at Tinubu. All these agitators, I mean, all these people you can call human rights activists, they are in his hand. They are tools in the hands of Tinubu, starting from Oshiomhole, who know that Oshiomhole will form a synergy with, will form I mean, you will have the same idea with somebody like Tinubu. When Oshiomhole was the leader of NNPC, he was an hero then, but later he joined them. And Tinubu caucus, they use their way. They collected Edo that time. They collected Ondo. They collected Ekiti. They collected Osun State. And it's a political tsunami that was gathering momentum until it swept Nigeria away. Nigeria is eroded in the political tsunami of Tinubu. In 2023, I said that Tinubu, I don't believe in his style, but he will win. Because the strategy has been the strategy is there. So I don't know until when. Okay, now look at it. For instance, as we are struggling to it now. Look at the celebration of Davido and the Chioma wedding. Can you say a country that is suffering, they will celebrate like that? Immediately we finish to Oju Dioba. Go and check the picture of Oju Dioba, and you tell me that Nigeria is suffering. You are in abroad and you say Nigeria is suffering. No, they are selling one pepper, one pieces of road, 100 naira, and you see what is happening at Oju Dioba. Will you believe? If you are outside, so that is the problem. That is the problem Nigeria is facing. So the mindset of Nigeria now, the people that can lead the team, they are now ruling us. So nobody will come out.